This is the Symantec Data Loss Prevention 15.7 Technical Update for March 2020. In this presentation, we briefly discuss new features in Symantec DLP 15.7 for the Enforce server and platform, as well as new features for detection, discover, endpoint, and cloud. In the first topic, we discuss new features in Symantec DLP 15.7 for the Enforce server and platform. Symantec now officially supports deploying the Symantec DLP database on Oracle Real Application Clusters, or RAC, with Oracle 12.201 Enterprise Edition. RAC provides high availability for the Symantec DLP database by offering a clustered Oracle server environment, where the DLP database is shared across a pool of servers, so that if any single server in the pool fails, the database will continue to run on the remaining servers. For detailed information about configuring the Symantec DLP Oracle RAC database, see the Symantec Data Loss Prevention Oracle 12c Enterprise Implementation Guide at the URL shown here. Symantec supports installing the DLP database in an Oracle multi-tenant environment. The multi-tenant architecture, first introduced in Oracle 12c, enables an Oracle database to function as a multi-tenant container database, or CDB. A CDB is designed to host customer-created pluggable databases, or PDBs. A PDB is a portable collection of schemas, schema objects, and other database-related objects that appears to an Oracle client as a standard non-CDB Oracle database. Using Oracle CDBs and PDBs in a multi-tenant environment helps to greatly simplify the job of the Oracle Database Administrator by consolidating multiple databases onto a single server, where they can all be updated and managed from a single Oracle instance and yet still be isolated from each other for security purposes. Multi-tenant databases are supported on Oracle 12.102 Standard and Enterprise versions, as well as Oracle 12.201 Standard and Enterprise versions. You can securely send messages from the Enforce server to a syslog server using TLS over TCP encryption. To enable encryption for the log to a syslog server response rule, select the TCP option in the response rule action and enable TLS client authentication if necessary. To enable encryption for system events, update the manager.properties file to include the line shown here. The manager.properties file is located on the Enforce server in the config directory of the Symantec DLP installation folder. Symantec DLP provides Enforce Administration Console user authentication and role assignment based on Microsoft Active Directory groups. A role that uses Active Directory is called an Active Directory Managed Role. An Active Directory Managed Role is based on a Symantec DLP user group that you populate with users synchronized from your Active Directory server. Active Directory Managed Groups are configured in the Enforce Administration Console at System, Users, User Groups. You create an AD Managed Group by selecting an Active Directory connection that you previously configured in the Enforce console. Symantec DLP then pulls across directory information from the Active Directory server, enabling you to select the Active Directory group or groups whose users you want to include in the Symantec DLP Active Directory Managed User Group you're defining. After you've created an Active Directory Managed User Group, you can assign it an Enforce role at System, Login Management, Roles, Configure Role. Incident reporting and update SOAP APIs have been replaced in Symantec DLP 15.7 with REST APIs. REST APIs are generally better performing and easier to use than SOAP-based APIs. You can use the REST APIs to integrate incident data with other applications, to provide dynamic reporting, create a custom incident remediation process, or support business processes that rely on DLP incidents. Note that SOAP-based APIs for incident reporting are still supported, but new integrations requiring custom incident reporting should leverage the REST-based APIs. Symantec DLP now supports using Google's Chrome web browser to access the Enforce Administration Console. In this topic, we discuss new detection features in Symantec DLP 15.7. Symantec DLP 15.7 includes more than 55 new and updated data identifiers and policy templates. For a complete listing, see the What's New and What's Changed in Symantec Data Loss Prevention 15.7 document on Symantec's support site. 9 new variables have been added for Symantec DLP 15.7 response rule actions. First, new variables related to DLP's Cloud Service Connector API have been added to the variables list for the Send Email Notification and Send to Syslog Server response rule actions. Additionally, the Document ID variable has been added for the Quarantine response rule action for REST incidents only. This variable is not available for the Endpoint Discover Quarantine file and the Network Protect Quarantine file response rule actions. Note that all these new variables require the DLP Cloud Service Connector API license to be installed on the Enforce server. Updating exact match data identifier, or EMDI, indexes has been optimized in DLP 15.7. When an EMDI index is updated, the endpoints receive only the data that is different between the old index and the new index. This conserves on bandwidth usage, especially when the index updates are deployed in environments with a large number of endpoints. In addition to the new detection features just discussed, there are some other detection-related changes in DLP 15.7 we should mention. First, Symantec DLP's Folder Risk Report, which displays file share folders ranked by prioritized risk, will no longer work when Adobe Flash reaches end of life on December 31st, 2020. Next, NPCAP is now supported as an alternative to WinPCAP for Network Monitor. You can use either WinPCAP or NPCAP for Network Monitor in Symantec DLP 15.7. In this topic, we discuss new Discover features in Symantec DLP 15.7. Symantec Data Access Governance Stealth Audit officially replaces Veritas Data Insight in Symantec DLP 15.7 for providing file owner and access information. As of September 30th, 2019, Symantec no longer sells Veritas Data Insight. In the initial release of Symantec Data Access Governance, integration with Symantec DLP 15.1 and 15.5 required the DLP administrator to download and install a separate Flex Response plugin. In DLP 15.7, the Data Access Governance plugin is automatically included with DLP, although you do need to configure it to work with Stealth Audit. As in the previous release of Data Access Governance, you must still install the Stealth Audit software separately. Several enhancements have been made to grid scanning in Symantec DLP 15.7. First, if a detection server that is assigned to a grid is busy when a grid scan starts, it joins the scan as soon as it finishes the task it was performing. This enhancement reduces the idle time of detection servers and enables scheduled grid scans to start on time and run at full capacity as much as possible. If a detection server is assigned to more than one scan target, it joins the ongoing grid scan that started first. Next, you can now configure message redelivery limits for grid scans. In previous versions of Symantec DLP, if the file reader restarted during a grid scan, queued items were sometimes not scanned, or messages were removed from the queue without being processed. Such occurrences sometimes resulted in errors being generated for those missed files. To prevent such issues from occurring, administrators can set the new crawler scan queue item max redeliveries setting in the crawler.properties file on each detection server to configure how many times a message redelivery is attempted following a file reader restart. On the Scan Details screen, the Recent Grid Status section now includes additional columns that display near real-time information about the performance of the grid leader and each participating grid follower. Using this information, administrators can troubleshoot the ongoing scan as well as plan to improve the performance of future grid scans. For more details about each of the grid status statistics, refer to the What's New and What's Changed in Symantec Data Loss Prevention 15.7 document available on the Symantec support site. The Scan Statistics section on the Scan Details screen provides a more detailed breakdown of processed items, enabling administrators to better understand the scope of a scan as well as its outcome. Some scan statistics are new, such as the Total Items Considered statistic, which reports the total number of processed items, including those that could not be scanned. Additionally, the Bytes Scan statistic has been renamed to Bytes Downloaded. Finally, Network Discover Grid Scans now provide a more detailed breakdown of the number of scanned Microsoft Outlook personal folders, or PST files. The number of scanned PST files is now reported as total PST items. The number of scanned PST sub-items is reported separately using the PST sub-item scan statistic, and the number of failed PST sub-item scans is reported using the PST errors statistic. Network Discover error messages now indicate when content extraction failure is the reason for failed scans. For example, the error message "failed to extract content from truncated file exceeding the maximum file size" is displayed when content extraction fails for a particular file that exceeds the configured size limit. In this topic, we discuss new endpoint features in Symantec DLP 15.7. The DLP Agent can monitor files saved from Microsoft Office 2019 applications and Office 365 to OneDrive, SharePoint, and WebDAV locations. Sensitive files that are blocked are saved on the endpoint. The DLP Agent can also monitor Microsoft Office files edited from Box using Box Edit. When you run an Endpoint Discover Classification scan, Symantec DLP collects the details of the tagging and displays a summary of tags and policy violations in the Enforce Administration console. You can also download full reports and view the classification scan summary details for the top 5 tags applied across all agents, the top 5 policies violated across all agents, and the top 5 tags versus policies violated across all agents. Symantec LiveUpdate provides an easy way for you to obtain the latest hotfixes for DLP agents on Windows, enabling you to keep your DLP agents up to date. You can enable the DLP agents to receive the updates directly from Symantec, or you can control the update process from within your own organization. The Symantec LiveUpdate Administrator tool, which you can download from the Symantec support site, is an enterprise web application that lets you manage Symantec updates on your own internal LiveUpdate servers. You download the updates from an external Symantec site to your internal LiveUpdate administrator servers called distribution centers. You then send the updates either immediately to a production distribution center for LiveUpdate clients to download, or to a testing center to test the updates. After the updates have passed your testing requirements, they are sent to the production distribution center. LiveUpdate settings for the DLP agent are configured in the Enforce Administration console at System, Agents, Agent Configuration on the Settings tab. The DLP agent now supports Windows Server 2019 and Mac OS 10.15 endpoints. Also, because Microsoft ended Windows 7 support on January 14, 2020, Symantec has discontinued support for running the Symantec DLP agent on Windows 7 systems. In this topic, we discuss new cloud features in Symantec DLP 15.7. The Symantec DLP Cloud Management Portal is now accessible through the Enforce Administration console from System, Settings, Cloud Management Portal. You can log on to your Cloud Management Portal account from this page to perform initial setup and view a list of your purchased cloud services. This video was produced by Symantec Education Services. We have several ways to help you maximize your product competency and technical knowledge. Instructor-led training provides a full range of training solutions. The Symantec eLibrary contains hundreds of web-based training courses like this one, and they are all free of charge. Validate your technical competency by becoming a Symantec Certified Specialist. Protect your entire organization by educating your team with security awareness training. Come visit us at go.symantec.com/education. This concludes the Symantec Data Loss Prevention 15.7 Technical Update for March 2020.